Greetings, I'm Christopher Logan Hilt, and today on Joe Takes number 23, we're going to be talking about Cobra Ninjas from the Hilt. Now, this will be my second Cobra troop builder, and it's hard to know where to start with them. I know the Classified has a couple of basic Cobra Ninjas. Now, I've already covered Storm Shadow, so I will be going over that a little bit because he is the original Cobra Ninja, so you can't really talk about Cobra Ninjas without mentioning Storm Shadow. What I do have here though is a little box full of ninjas that I will be showing off to you here real quick. Well, not necessarily real quick, but after Storm Shadow went over to G.I. Joe in 1990, they came out with some ninjas for Cobra. Cobra Ninja became known as the Night Creepers, and now I have a couple of these guys, and they're pretty cool. They came with a lot of decent weapons, and they were definitely fun to play with. Now, in '97, they brought out an Arctic 3-pack, and in that 3-pack they had a white Firefly, which was kind of cool, and I'm pretty sure one of the Snow Serpents. I don't remember if I'm right about that, but I think so. But it was all white. It was really neat. And then they had this Snow Night Creeper. It was pretty cool. I got to take care of this. Sorry, but I'm just having one of those days, one of those weeks, really. Now, later on, they came out with, in 1993, I'm pretty sure, the Night Creeper leader, who in the comics was named Aleph. I don't know if this particular version of Night Creeper was Aleph, but that's what I always called him because that's what Larry Hama called the Night Creeper leader. Now, they came out with a second version in the vintage line of Night Creeper, and this is what he looked like. This was the Ninja Force Night Creeper, and it was kind of cool. After that, they had the Valor versus Venom line, but also in the Ninja Force, I was almost forgetting them. I had them at the back here because their knees are so weak. We had Slice and Dice. Slice and Dice. I really liked these two characters. They were partners. They were Cobra Ninjas. Slice was a really awesome swordsman. It's kind of in the name, I suppose. Dice used a bow staff that was pretty cool. And he's a brawler and a bone breaker, so he's just a big dude. Sort of like if you made a cross between a ninja and a samurai. Not samurai, a sumo wrestler. That's what I meant to say. So imagine if Storm Shadow and E Honda merged and became one being, and you would get Dice, and that's kind of what they did with him. Now, they also had one other figure in the vintage line, and so a lot of people were saying, well, they never had blue ninjas before, but they did, and that was your Ninja Viper, the first Cobra Ninja that wasn't the Night Creepers or Storm Shadow. It is basically it's a Storm Shadow figure, it's a repaint. But the Ninja Viper was your first Blue Ninja. It was never called the Blue Ninja, but it was, in every sense of the word, was kind of a aquamarine or blue-green ninja. Now, in the Spy Troops, they came out with another Night Creeper and had him disguised as Wetsuit, and he was pretty cool, but if you take off the mask and the oxygen outfit, he is a Night Creeper. And of course, I've got his flippers there so that he can put those on his feet. He doesn't stand very well with those, so it was a neat figure. Nice idea, and that was they had other versions of Night Creeper in the early 2000s, and that's the style they had with different colors. Now they also came out with, in the Valor versus Venom line, they came out with, I had Slice come out again, same figure, just different, a repaint. I have it, but I already had the original. The other one is bright orange, and I'm like, well, I'm going to show the original Slice. His partner in Valor vs. Venom was Slash, and this was an interesting figure. They had definitely a different kind of partnership than Slice and Dice did. But it was interesting. They were kind of funny. Also, right at the end of the Valor versus Venom era, they came out with a big pack of ninjas with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, of course. And then they also had this arch, a ninja arch. Well, not necessarily ninja, but it was like a dojo arch, one of those shrine arches in Japan that were really beautiful. I actually have two of them because I ended up getting one with a different set as well. But I think I've only got one complete between the two of them because I lost one of the pieces because it breaks apart the whole archway, so you can simulate that it gets broken apart. Now, one of the ninjas in that came with it, besides Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, was the Black Dragon Ninja. Now, they had other ones, but I think this is the only one they put out in stores, and it was pretty cool. The Black Dragon Ninja, that's black and gold. It might as well be an Iron Grenadier, is what he really looked like, or Grenadier, however you want to say it. Storm Shadow had one last apprentice in Cobra, and that was Shadow Strike, and they brought his figure out at that time. And the other figure they had in that pack is my only actual Red Ninja that's not a modern figure. I actually have a couple of Red Ninjas in the modern line. But this was Red Ninja Viper, and he was basically just a repaint of the 88 Storm Shadow. But it looked pretty cool. So, I mean, it might be a slightly different, but I'm pretty sure it's an exact repaint, except for maybe the face sculpt. It kind of looks like the Shadow. His nose goes under the mask, and Storm Shadow didn't look like that. So, I think the head sculpt was a little different. And of course, we have the original Storm Shadow that came out in a comic 2-pack. Now, the good part about this is now that I've looked at them all, I can just put them all back in the box and put them away here a little later. And then we can start looking at the classified. And I don't really use ninjas a lot. I'm not a big ninja guy. I like the figures, but in my own storylines, I never really showcased the ninjas a lot. Well, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but, they were part of the G.I. Joe lore, and I really wasn't a big fan of the Ninja Force. I mean, it was okay, and, we got another Scarlet in the vintage line, and it was okay. It wasn't great. I didn't like the play features, like, let's see here, Slice. If I can grab Slice or Dice real quick here, and I'll show you. Each of them had this gimmick of a play feature, and basically what you would do is Slice had, I think mine's broken, but maybe it's not, but there it goes. You pull the arm back, and it's supposed to simulate that he's doing his ninja strike move. And they each had their own, each move had their own name. Let me see Dice here. And that's why the knees are so bad, because I was always playing with him. Now Dice, you'd get a hold of him, and you'd let him go, and he would flip back. He had a spring-loaded thing in his waist, and that was his feature, and it was okay. Like I said, they each had one, but it made it so you couldn't repair the figures. Notoriously, the Storm Shadow in the Ninja Force, I have one, but I can't get the legs back on it without taking it all apart and redoing the glue and all of that, but I'm not really that handy with stuff like that. Now, that takes us to the classified, and we're going to take a look, starting at the Red Ninja. This is his box, and of course my nose is going to decide to do its thing. Sorry. But I don't know if you can see that really well because it was really dark. Let me see if I can get the light on it. But I always thought he kind of looked undead, like a zombie ninja or something. It was kind of cool. And then they had, naturally they brought out the Blue Ninjas a little later. So this was the Blue Ninjas. The Blue Ninjas were in the comics too, even the vintage. The old Marvel comics were. It basically matches up with the figures, the Marvel run and the vintage action figures. But this was number 51 in the line, and the back just actually shows the figures instead of it's one of the more newer packaging, box packaging. And this didn't have one of those foot lockers But I do have the accessories. I think I've got most of the accessories on them. So we'll start with the Red Ninja. Now this is a pretty cool figure. I like the way it looked. A lot of people complained that it didn't look like the original Red Ninja. And I'm like, well, there really wasn't a Red Ninja per se until the modern line. And it was basically just a repainted Storm Shadow. This is not a repainted Storm Shadow. It actually came out in the classified line before. And he had a couple of sais and a couple of sickles. And then he had this massive Masamune. I think that's how you pronounce that. Masamune or Masamune. Japanese-wise, if you go phonetically, it should be Masamune. But, you know, I could be wrong. I mean, English is a messed up language. I don't know how to speak Japanese, so I really can't say. But, yeah, he had another axe like this. I left that in his package. It's just, he came with a lot of accessories, and they didn't all fit on him very well. Now, I actually don't think this is feasible, this sword going on the waist or the back, but there is a spot for a sword on the backpack between the two sickles, and it's kind of cool. I've got on the male Blue Ninja, because of the two-pack of the Blue Ninjas, one's male, one's female. It's pretty cool, and I'll show you how I arranged the sickles for him. You can do it however you want. And I actually don't have I have the head for it in the box there. And I was going to break them out, but I decided, you're already seeing the Red Ninja, so there's no real point of seeing that again when you have this really cool Japanese, I can't remember how to say demon in Japanese. I used to know, but slipped my mind at the moment, of course. But yeah, I put the big sword in the back, and this one actually fits better. But then I put the sickles inward instead of outward, because different ninjas I feel comfortable doing different things. Of course, he's got the sai on the back there, the two sai. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there are two of them if I can do it right. But then I put his katana on his waist, and I just put both of the hatchets in his hands. He basically came with the same accessories that the Red Ninja did, and you know, it was a neat figure. I prefer the female Blue Ninja, however. And it was basically just a repaint of the Akiko, except for the two heads. Now, the female head is just a smaller version of the Red Ninja head, but it is smaller and it looks feminine. But I like this fox mask. I think that's what it is. These Japanese masks are really cool. She came with a larger sickle and a bow and a katana. So I thought she definitely came with better weapons than Akiko did. But basically the same figure for the movie figure of Akiko. And I will be doing my Joe take on Akiko here in October. So I'm doing coming up on this month, I've got if I can get her to stand up now that one of her feet have come off the pegs, of course. I'm doing a ladies month for my Joe takes. So next week is going to be Cover Girl. Now, that will take us to comics. In the comics, they had the Red Ninjas here that were throughout the series. They didn't appear a lot. Hama really focused on the back and forth between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow a lot. And Zartan. Zartan got thrown in the mix, and then later on, Jinx was added to that. Now, this cover here is after the Cobra Civil War, and I will bust this out so you can get a better look at it up close. I really love this cover. Basically, Zartan is in charge of the Koga Ninjas, is what they call the Red Ninjas in the comics. And then later on, Firefly just showed up and he was their boss. It's like, what happened to Zartan being in charge of them? I don't know. It makes me wonder if Larry Hama forgot and just didn't care anymore, or if Zartan, because Zartan did disappear there for a while. They both did, so who knows? I guess the Red Ninjas thought they needed a leader, and so they jumped at the chance to follow either one. But yeah, in that storyline with Firefly, it turned out that he had been a Koga Ninja all along. So, well, that really, he was part of a rival clan. It was kind of interesting, a rival, but peaceful. They were on good terms. But with Zartan and the ninjas in this, he basically took the imposter Cobra Commander Fred the Seventh and basically told him how it was going to be after Cobra Civil War. But, you know, then things changed, and Zartan had a change of heart when he went and tried to kill Storm Shadow, because Storm Shadow found out that he had killed the Hardmaster, Storm Shadow's uncle, and it became that story there for a while. And it was interesting. And so I thought this was the coolest cover with the ninjas. I mean, they had some other ones in the issue 90s with Snake Eyes' second origin story, but I'm missing a lot of those. So this was the coolest one I still have, with the Red Ninjas prominently on the cover. Now, cartoon, they didn't really do the ninjas a lot. They did have a Ninja Battles, one that was sort of like a live-action comic that they did, and the one episode of the cartoon, and I didn't get a chance to watch this week, was I'm pretty sure it was called Cobra Quake, and Bazooka was in that, and Lady J, and Keiko, might as well be a Kiko, but she had a different name, and she had a white gi that she wore throughout the episode, and Quick Kick was in that, and Gung Ho and Flint, and there was a really cool scene where they went to this monastery, and Cobra had taken it over, and they were looking for this professor that lived there. I don't know if it was a monastery, but that's what it looked like when they actually went there. And Storm Shadow had a ton of ninjas there that were his apprentices, all wearing white gis like his. So they had the thought that there should be more than one Cobra Ninja even back then. So you could have troop built Storm Shadow, and I've got a couple of them, and I showed those off in my Storm Shadow video, but they're not in very great shape. I use my best example of Storm Shadow in the O-ring style to show you, and that's pretty much how it was in the comics and the cartoon. They were just there for the most part, all the different Cobra Ninjas. Now, for me, in my headcanon, like I said, I don't really use them, but when I do, a lot of the ninjas are Storm Shadow clones, and then they have the red ninjas and the blue ninjas. It's they use them for cannon fodder and for protection more often than they use them for anything else. But I hope you like looking at all my ninjas and my box of ninjas and my classified ninjas, and talking a bit about the comics, not really a lot. Like I said, they were sporadic throughout the comics. They became more prominent later, especially when he introduced the Blue Ninjas, and that in the IDW series really took off with the Blue Ninjas, who were like cyborgs. But like I was saying with this Red Ninja, I'm going to take one little quick look at him again for you. Those eyes, they look so inhuman, and it could just be the mask. But like I said, it kind of looked like a zombie ninja, and I really like this figure. The blue one, not as much, but it's still a pretty cool figure. I like the demon mask that he came with, and the fox mask for the female ninja. And so I guess I might as well show them together, seeing how I didn't do that. The two blue ninjas, and there you go. Got the fox ninja and the demon ninja, which was really neat. I like the way they did this 2-pack. Made it a troop builder, just like the Red Ninja, and they pretty much called it that. And actually, in the classified series, the Red Ninja is technically the first troop builder. So that's where we're at with the Cobra Ninjas. Again, like I said, I hope you enjoyed my video and my take on all the Cobra Ninjas. And with that all being said, Logan out.